Her Excellency, Distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Your Excellency, Ma, you're welcome. The national anthem, please. The pledge, please. I pledge to Nigeria, my country, to be faithful, loyal, and honest, to serve Nigeria with all my strength, to defend her unity, and uphold her honor and glory. So help me God. Thank you very much. Please be seated. Your Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, our special guest of honor, the wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Haja Fatima Tajuddin Abbas, the wife of the Deputy Senate President, Haja Leila Barau, the Chairman, Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes, Senator Udende Emmanuel, the Chairman, House Committee on Anti-Corruption, Honorable Kayode Moshood Akiolu, and other members of the National Assembly here present, members of the Federal Executive Council here present or their representatives, the Honorable Minister of Youth Development, Mr. Ayodele Olawande or his representative, Honorable Minister of Women Affairs, Haja Iman Suleiman Ibrahim FSI or her representative, Honorable Minister of Interior, Dr. Lubumi Tunji Ojo or his representative, the Inspector General of Police or his representative, the Comptroller General of Immigration Service or her representative, the Chairman, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliu, the Chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau, Dr. Abdullahi Usman Bello, the Chairman, Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, Mr. Ola Olukayode or his representative, the Director General, National Youth Service Corps, Brigadier General Y.D. Ahmed or his representative, the Director General, NAPTIP or her representative, the representative of the National President of the National Council for Women's Society, The commissioners of youth development from the states here present, which one state from each of the geopolitical zone here present, Your Excellency. We have the commissioners here present. We recognize you. Our moderator of discussion session and our panelists, we recognize you. The keynote speaker for today's session, who is also the Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, Hafsat Abubakar Bakari, will recognize you. The Chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau, Dr. Abdullahi Usman Bello, will recognize you. All participants here present, Your Excellency Ma, we have brought student union leaders, presidents of student union of tertiary institutions in Nigeria, who are women, who are young ladies. Some of them told me they were inspired by your participation in the National Assembly as a senator, and it moved them to contest, and they won. So they are here, and they'll be meeting with you one-on-one today for more inspiration. All other dignitaries here present, we recognize you. The Secretary to the ICPC, the directors and management staff of the ICPC, we recognize you and we welcome you. At this point, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll run straight to the program, and we hope to be as fast as possible. I am sure Her Excellency has a very tight schedule today, and she would like to be somewhere else to make sure that things keep running for the good of our state, the Nigerian state. At this point, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to call on my chairman, the chairman of the ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliyu, SAN, to come forward and welcome us properly. Honorable Chairman, sir.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, ON, CON, the wife of the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Hajia Fatima Tajuddin Abbas, the wife of the Deputy Senate President, Hajia Leila Barrow, the Chairman of Code of Conduct Bureau, Dr. Abdullahi Bello, the Director of NFIU, my sister, the keynote speaker, Hajia Hafsat Abubakar Bakari, the representative of the Director General of NYSC, here present, and representative of Honorable Minister of Youth, the student union leaders here, all other distinguished members here present, including the Secretary of the Commission. I welcome you to this important occasion, which is a workshop for Women and Youth Alliance Against Corruption. We are honored by the presence of Her Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, whose commitment to empowering women and youth is evident through impactful programs including youth, HIV/AIDS advocacy, alternative education for girls, and how we are equal campaign for equality through education. Her Excellency leadership inspires us to strengthen our efforts against corruption, focusing on empowering women and youth as essential pillars of our community. We really appreciate your presence, Your Excellency. Ladies and gentlemen, and esteemed guests and participants, today's workshop is not just an event, rather it is a crucial platform that aims to highlight the pivotal role of youth and women in the fight against corruption in this great country. By uniting our voices and resources, we can amplify our impact and drive meaningful change in our communities. Engaging women and youth in battle against corruption is crucial and essential because they are the first to feel the effect of this cancer, yet they are not being taken so much in this, and they hold the keys to innovation and solution and transformative leadership. Today's workshop stands as a pillar of public engagement, fully aligned with the Corrupt Practice and Other Related Offences Commission Act, the National Anti-Corruption Strategy, and the ICPC National Anti-Corruption Action Plan 2022 to 2028. Throughout this workshop, we'll explore strategies, share experiences, build alliances that will empower us to tackle corruption head-on. The ICPC is deliberately taking on the opportunities to harness technology for mobilizing, build inclusive coalition, and empowering marginalized voices. Clearly, by engaging women and youth, our overarching objective is for our anti-corruption efforts to become more diverse, inclusive, and sustainable, leading to enhanced credibility and increased public support, innovative solutions, long-term impacts, and of course, a more just and equitable society. I therefore encourage everyone to participate actively in the panel of discussion that follow, as your contributions will be invaluable in shaping our collective efforts and formulating actionable recommendations to be captured in our communique. Together, let us harness our determination and creativity to forge a stronger alliance against corruption. I wish you all insightful discussion and fruitful exchange and good networking. Thank you, and God bless.
Thank you very much, the chairman of the ICPC, for welcoming Her Excellency and all the distinguished guests and participants here present. The chairman has set the tone for our engagement here today. We are here to harvest views, ideas, and suggestions on how to partner with women and youth in the fight against corruption to make Nigeria a better place. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we'll go into goodwill messages now. And please, as I stated earlier, we are doing 2 minutes for these goodwill messages, just 2 minutes. The youths of Nigeria have agreed that to represent the southern part of Nigeria in giving a goodwill message on their behalf, the youthful Commissioner for Youth Development, Ekiti State, Honorable Adeshola Gold Adedayo, will do a goodwill message on their behalf. Honorable Adedayo, please.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of Federal Republic of Nigeria, our mother, our role model, the builder of youth, thank you so very much for having us here today. The Chairman ICPC, I have the instruction of my commissioner colleagues in the Southwest to thank you also for involving us in this conversation. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, kindly permit me to stand on existing protocol. The best time to plant a tree, as they popularly say, was 20 years ago. The second best time is now. It's on this note that I want to thank the Chairman ICPC for involving us, particularly the youth and the student union leaders of our respective institutions. I'm sure we are not here to only discuss or define corruption. I know it's important for us to begin to rub minds together on exactly how you can involve the women and the youth to provide solution to this ugly word called corruption that is fast stealing our future. And so I just want to, I put down 3 or 4 points that I want to share with us in providing solution and of course involving the youth in order to be able to address this issue. Top among them is advocacy and influences. We're saying that the youth have a lot to offer, particularly in this generation that artificial intelligence is here. You agree with me that information technology, or probably the smartphone that we carry around, is not just only to show our parties or to have fun or to chat among ourselves. It's a tool in our hand that we can use beyond just social media space to provide solution to whatever it is that is affecting us. And so the youth and the students can take advantage of information technology or the new media, as we rightly call it now, to address this issue, to also contribute to the development of our nation, to participate in governance. Right now, in our respective campuses, we are talking about moving from protest to participation. And I think this is one area that we can all come together to participate. The second thing that I try to put down also, okay, I'll just summarize everything. And so, finally, I just want to thank the chairman for involving us. And I say to you that this youthful population is ready to work with Mr. Chairman to provide solution to our problem. I thank you so very much for having me here today, and I wish all of us a successful deliberation. Thank you.
Another round of applause for Commissioner for Youth Development, Ekiti State. Representing the youths in the northern part of Nigeria, we have Commissioner for Youth Development, Jigawa State, Honorable Sagir Musa Ahmed. Honorable Sagir Musa Ahmed, your 2 minutes starts the moment you get here, sir.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Chairman ICPC, permit me to stand on the existing protocol. As I am directed to just stand here for 2 minutes to give a goodwill, I want to use this opportunity on behalf of my colleagues from the northern part of the country to extend a very warmly congratulations to ICPC for setting the stage where we're going to have a very robust conversation today on how we can shape the future of this country. And I want to congratulate ICPC again for choosing the theme of this very important conversation. Alliance against corruption is very, very important, particularly when you identify the most important part of the society, women and youth. So I wish to use this opportunity to congratulate ICPC for setting the stage, and I hope and pray we'll take the insight we can learn from this very important occasion to see how we can shape the society, particularly as we prepare to see how we can instill discipline in our youth and women to be able to have a very prosperous Nigeria. Thank you all.
Thank you very much, sir, for using 1 minute, 43 seconds. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we will skip MacArthur Foundation for now. We have not seen their representative. Then we go to an organization that is in the forefront of managing youth and taming their restiveness. I know I was tamed by this organization when I worked with them for 1 year. Whether I wanted to work with them or not, but I worked with them for 1 year, and I was tamed. We call on the Director General of the NYSC. He knew at once that it was him when I said that was tamed. The Director General, ably represented by Prince Momo Mohammed, Director, NYSC Ventures. Let's give it up for NYSC, please.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the Chairman ICPC, other protocols duly observed by the Master of Ceremony. I am here to present the goodwill message of the Director General of NYSC, Brigadier General Y.D. Ahmed. I feel delighted for the opportunity to grace this occasion and warmly felicitate with the ICPC for its continuous stride in the anti-corruption crusade in all facets of our society. This workshop or roundtable engagement themed Women and Youth Alliance Against Corruption is yet another milestone geared towards deepening the anti-corruption consciousness, as well as promoting dialogue on contemporary issues to instigate collective and institutional affirmation against corrupt practices and instill a culture of probity and integrity in our respective workplaces. I therefore encourage the management of the Commission to keep up the good works and look forward to more innovative ways to tame corruption in the society. As you are all aware, the NYSC scheme is in partnership with the ICPC and playing a pivotal role in the fight against corruption throughout the country, using elaborate educative campaign materials and dissemination of information, and utilizing the presence of core members in the 774 local government areas of Nigeria to deepen the fight against corruption in their host communities. You may also recall that the NYSC is saddled with the enormous task of mobilizing and grooming young graduates for leadership responsibility and self-reliance for national development. It therefore means that our young graduates that are mobilized to serve the fatherland must be equipped with the requisite knowledge to fight corruption and extend same to the host community. As an agency that prides itself and excels in fighting corruption in our society, I find it expedient to commend the efforts of the ICPC and encourage the Commission to sustain the tempo by expanding and equipping stakeholders with more technical skills to fight this scourge. In conclusion, I wish to once again commend the wonderful achievement of the ICPC in creating diverse ways to fight corruption in our society. I know that corruption has taken a toll on the fabrics of our society, but as it stands today, ICPC is changing the narrative. The multifaceted dimension being adopted by the Commission are no doubt yielding positive results to the extent that our country will be liberated from these shackles soonest. Thank you, and God bless you.
Thank you very much, the Director General, National Youth Service Corps. Your Excellency, even though there were not scheduled for goodwill message in the program, I will not want you to be angry with me if I leave the women. We have a representative of the National Council of Women's Society, so I crave your permission to give them 2 minutes, ma'am. National Council of Women's Society, you have 2 minutes to speak as representing all mothers. Thank you.
Your Excellency, our national patron, Ms. Oluroyemi Tinubu, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. On behalf of the National Council of Women's Societies Nigeria, I want to appreciate the ICPC for giving us this opportunity to participate in this very important occasion, the Women and Youth Alliance Against Corruption. Corruption, as we all know, has eaten deep into our society, and as women, it is our responsibility to time our own children and the society. So by participating fully in this workshop, I know due to our spread being in all the 774 local governments, we should be able to step down. And copying from our patron, we have seen a lot from all the workshops that she has put us through. Corruption is a disease and we must fight it. National Council for Women's Societies is ready. We have the platform and we shall step down, like I said earlier. Thank you very much, Your Excellency, for giving us this opportunity.
Thank you very much, National Council for Women's Society. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to call on the Chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau, to please come forward, Dr. Abdullahi Usman Bello, to come forward and give us a goodwill message.
Your Excellency, Senator Oluroyemi Tinubu, OON, DON, First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Chairman, ICPC, permit me to stand on existing protocol. I am honored to speak at today's roundtable organized by the ICPC. The theme, Women and Youth Alliance Against Corruption, emphasizes the critical role that both women and youth play in fighting corruption. As we confront this major challenge, it is clear that collaboration between these two groups can bring about lasting change in our society. The role of women in combating corruption. Women are central to the fabric of society as they have a unique role in promoting ethical behavior. They can contribute in promoting ethical standards in families, leading with integrity in professional and personal spaces, advocating gender equity and social justice. The youth can also contribute in the fight against corruption by using technology to expose corruption, by organizing grassroots movement and civic engagements, and by promoting culture of integrity. Finally, I commend the ICPC for providing this platform for women and youth to take leadership roles in building a corruption-free society. The Code of Conduct Bureau is proud to support this cause alongside ICPC and other stakeholders. Let me remind you that we in CCB, we stand for honesty, transparency, and accountability in public service. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the Chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau, for this exemplary conduct in using exactly 2 minutes. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, may I respectfully call on the Honorable Minister of Interior, Dr. Olubunmi Tunji Ojo, or his representative. If his representative is here, okay. May I call on the Honorable Minister for Youth Development, ably represented by the Permanent Secretary. Honorable Minister, Youth Development.
Your Excellency, our amiable mother and the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, the Chairman of the ICPC, distinguished participants, please permit me to stand on the existing protocol. Firstly, I bring you greetings from my Honorable Minister of Youth Development, Comrade Ayode Lawande, who, just because of exigency of work, is in Akure now for another assignment. I couldn't make it. That's why I'm here to represent him. So I'll be reading his address. It is a pleasure to be here at this important workshop that aims to cultivate a culture of accountability among Nigerians' most critical demographics, women and youth, and forge a future where integrity and transparency are the cornerstone of our society. As you may all be aware, the youth, which constitutes more than 70% of our population, and the women are vulnerable to multiple forms of corruption, resulting in diverse negative impacts, spanning their social, economic, and political lives. Therefore, anti-corruption agencies must consciously seek to inform these groups about the effect of corruption and engage them through various awareness campaigns, innovative and social accountability initiatives. Their engagement will have a transformative impact on government anti-corruption efforts. I therefore commend the management of ICPC for organizing this workshop and recognizing the critical role of women and youth in building a society rooted in transparency, accountability, and integrity. Distinguished participants, corruption has been a long-standing obstacle that hinders development and erodes public trust globally. Hence, nations, including our dear country Nigeria, are making concerted efforts and drive to dismantle this evil structure through education, empowerment, and unwavering dedication to ensure that it must not thrive. The Federal Ministry of Youth Development recognizes the imperative roles this group play in building our nation's future and is actively driving Mr. President's Renew Hope agenda by empowering and equipping Nigerian youth with knowledge and tools to champion integrity and resist the allure of corruption. Through the various programs the ministry is implementing on youth empowerment, especially on One Youth, Two Skill initiative to ensure that our youth are gainfully engaged. Distinguished participants, this gathering represents more than just an event. It is a profound partnership that underscores our shared responsibility to build a future where integrity is non-negotiable and corruption has no place. I therefore urge everyone to participate actively, share ideas, and commit to being champions of ethical leadership in their communities. Your dedication to these values will lead to the Nigeria we aspire to see tomorrow. Once again, I want to thank you, the ICPC, for organizing this event, and I want to wish all participants a productive and inspiring session. Thank you.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a round of applause for the Honorable Minister of Youth Development, please. Honorable Minister for Women Affairs, Haja Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, FSI, or her representative. Okay. The representative of the House of Representatives Committee Chair on Anti-Corruption. Okay. The Chairman, Senate Committee on Anti-Corruption and Financial Crimes. Okay. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I call on our special guest of honor to come and speak to us, permit me to say something. The Joint Admission and Matriculation Board, JAM, to show how serious it takes this program. When they saw the letter and it says women and youth, the registrar of JAM sent 2 female directors to be here. Even after doing that, he came in quietly on his own. I will not say he's hiding, he's an elder. But he sat quietly at the back, but he did not know that his white beards will give him away. So standing from here, I can see the registrar of JAM, Professor Ishak Oleyede, somewhere there. Using the same eyes he uses to identify exam malpractice in JAM that he has been dealing with and making sure he's reducing it. With the permission of the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, sir, we call on you to please come and say something against corruption in examinations for 2 minutes for the Nigerian youth to benefit and for our mothers to know that you are properly conducting exams for their children. Let us welcome Professor Ishak Oleyede for 2 minutes, please. This way, sir. This way.
Your Excellency, the First Lady of the Republic, Chairman ICPC, please permit me to stand on existing protocol. It is a pleasure for me to be here because when we talk of fighting corruption, we do not take those 2 critical sectors of the society along, I think we will not be taken seriously. And that's why I've decided to support the directors who are here with my presence. I believe that our mothers, our sisters have a way of controlling even the fathers, not to talk of the children. They have some measures that could be taken that will be detective, preventive, and even that will enforce all laws against corruption. It is in this light that I congratulate ICPC for these preventive, as I see it, measures that they are taking. And I want to urge our mothers in particular that God has entrusted them with the responsibility of building the nation. I believe very well that they will continue to do so. And in doing so, I also believe that they need to take proactive measures, particularly on those things that predispose people towards corruption. They must make sure that they take good care of the home and they also manage us well. If they manage us well, I believe we will reduce the level of corruption in this society. On behalf of Joint Admissions and Matriculation Board, we will continue and we solicit your assistance, your help in ensuring that we do not introduce or initiate the upcoming generation into corruption and corruptive practices. And that's why we always affirm that discipline must be enforced. We should ensure that the upcoming generation will not continue the level of corruption that we all recognize we have in the present society. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I thank you for the honor. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Registrar JAM, Professor Ishak Oloyede. Your Excellency, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, before I call on the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria to declare this event open, permit me to make this announcement. Immediately after her speech in declaring the event open, we will take group photographs. We will start with Her Excellency and the female SUG presidents and the chairman of the ICPC, supported by the wives of the Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives and the wife of the Deputy Senate President. Thereafter, other photographs will follow. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is time for our special guest of honor, Her Excellency, Distinguished Senator Oluremi Tinubu, CON, First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, to speak to us and declare this workshop open. Your Excellency, ma'am.
Kindly be seated, please. Thank you. The wife of the Speaker, House of Representatives, Hajia Fatima Tajuddin Habas, wife of the Deputy Senate President, Hajia Leila Barao, Chairman, Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offenses Commission, ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliu, SAN, the Chairman, Code of Conduct Bureau, Dr. Abdullahi Usman Bello, representative of the Inspector General of Police, AIG Aisha Abubakar Baju, representative of the Comptroller General of Immigration, ACI Victoria Ayagbo DK, and then the Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Youth Development, Mr. Olubumi Olusoya, Registrar of JAM, Professor Ishak Oloyede. I think I'll take you up on what you said about we mothers later, maybe after my speech. I do agree to an extent. Second, National Vice President of the National Council of Women's Society, NCWS, Ajia Binta Sulaiman Ibrahim, and other members here present, panelists of today's event, student union leaders here present, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen. I am delighted to be at this critical one-day workshop for women and youth on anti-corruption. I thank the chairman of ICPC, Dr. Musa Adamu Aliu, SAN, for the invitation to join this conversation and to offer a few words of advice as we collectively seek to chart a new path towards a prosperous Nigeria. The theme, Women and Youth, Alliance Against Corruption, is timely, especially in times like this. Corruption as we know it is not a mere governance issue. It is a societal challenge that strikes at the heart of development. It undermines our democracy, stunts economic growth, and perpetuates inequality. When corruption thrives, it is the most vulnerable among us, that is the women, children, and marginalized communities who bear the heaviest burden. This menace is seen in every sector, from the trader in the market to the private sector, government agencies, the judiciary, and even in places of worship, to mention a few. And age is no barrier. It is for all of us and for the future of our beloved country that we must remain resolute in our effort to combat the scourge. We cannot leave this battle to government agencies alone. Women must especially be at the forefront of this fight. We must move beyond the desire to have our voices heard and step into roles where our actions are impactful. Let us take a moment to reflect on the words of our elders. I quote, "It takes a village to raise a child," unquote. In the same vein, it takes the collective will of the entire nation to defeat corruption. It is time for us to take our place as mothers, grandmothers, aunties, sisters, leaders, and reformers to do the needful. Women are nurturers, but recently we have left our children to raise themselves with the excuse of providing a better life for them. The challenges of corruption we face today are not insurmountable. We must work together, creating safe spaces for our children and wards to ensure that their dignity is upheld and their rights protected. To our esteemed young leaders, I urge you to embrace this moment as a call to action. You have the knowledge, energy, and innovation needed to lead the charge against corruption. The challenges we face are complex and dynamic, but so is your potential to drive change. The national and state assemblies are working tirelessly to update our laws to address new trends in corruption. It is up to you to ensure that these laws are enforced and translated into real change through advocacy, transparency, and accountability. We must recognize that no one will come to solve our problems for us. It is up to us as Nigerians to work together in unity with unwavering commitment. Our strength lies in our diversity, and our success will come from a shared determination to build a better Nigeria for ourselves and for the future generations. At this juncture, I commend the ICPC and its leadership for this unwavering commitment to this cause. The Commission's efforts in fostering collaborations with other anti-corruption agencies, civil society, and the private sector have been pivotal in advancing this agenda. I'm confident that under the leadership of the chairman and his able team, ICPC will continue to make giant strides in this fight. As we deliberate today, I urge you all to remain focused on the goal before us, which is to build Nigeria where integrity, accountability are the norms, not exceptions. In conclusion, I pray that our efforts today will bear fruits and that our collective resolve will inspire a new chapter in Nigeria's history. May it be one where corruption is no longer a threat to our progress, but a challenge that we have overcome. Together, we can make this vision a reality. On this note, I hereby declare the ICPC Women and Youth Corruption Prevention Workshop open. Wish you all fruitful deliberations. God bless the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Before I take my seat, I was sharing with the chairman earlier. I said, why is this hall not, it's a little bit not too full? I said, people are always scared of ICPC anyway, so maybe that's why they are not here. But well, today, and for Professor Loyede that said, we women, we are to nurture, but we need the support of the men as well. This is a new age for us, but me, you know, if it is mothers like us, no matter what work we do, we know we have to take care of the home, take care of our husbands. That's the way we are raised. But it's quite different now, and the young people should listen to us. You can have everything, career and your home. Don't neglect one for the other. Raise your children well. God bless you.
Student Union presidents, please come forward. Quickly, 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 quickly. Please be seated. Her Excellency wants you to sit down. Can we have the Registrar of JAM and the Chairman Code of Conduct Bureau join in taking these pictures with Her Excellency, please? Registrar of JAM, Code of Conduct Bureau Chairman, DG, NYSC, and the representative of the Honorable Minister for Youth Development and National Council for Women's Society. Please come forward. That's all. Okay, student union presidents, please, you can return to your seats. Student union president, yes. Our keynote speaker, the director, NFIU, please join. The secretary to the ICPC, please join. Director FI, okay, yes, she's here. All right. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. May we all rise for the national anthem, please. Thank you very much, Your Excellency. While the chairman of the ICPC sees off Her Excellency, may we all be seated, please, for a few announcements. Yes, we are done with the part 1 of this workshop. The protocol people will soon be directing us to where we will have tea, and after tea, which is for 30 minutes, we'll all return here for the technical session where the keynote speaker, Hajia Hafsat Abubakar Bakari, the Director, CEO of Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, will speak to us. And from her presentation, a panel of discussants will discuss and we'll have an interactive session thereafter. For those of you who wanted to snap with Her Excellency but did not have the opportunity, do not worry. Just keep supporting the ICPC and what the ICPC is doing. And then organize your event too and bring the ICPC into it. Perhaps the ICPC will be able to bring Her Excellency again. And at that time, those who did not snap today might get the opportunity to snap tomorrow. But don't worry. The First Lady is still the First Lady of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. And if you miss this opportunity, there are many more opportunities to come. For the young ladies, SUG presidents, when you go back to your schools, we will try to get this picture and we'll send them to you. When you go back to your schools, do not hide them, display them. Photographs are powerful in bringing about behavior change. You were not sleeping when you became SUG president. You did something. You brought yourself forward, and you're using your voice, your position, and you're participating in governance. It will inspire others to want to be like you and to one day be here, not only to snap with the First Lady of the Republic, but even with the President and Commander-in-Chief. It will inspire others. Please, do not keep them to yourselves. The little girls around your compound, near your school, when they see it, I must behave well so I can be like this person and get to this point tomorrow. That is the essence of these pictures. Protocol, if you're ready, we are ready to go for tea. Please come forward and lead the chairman of the ICPC, who will lead all other dignitaries on the front seat to where we would have tea. Protocol, we are ready for you. Sorry, I got word that we announced that the Vice Chancellor of the University of Abuja is represented here. I also got word that the Vice Chancellor of Nasarawa State University, Kefi, is represented. The Vice Chancellor of Nasarawa State University, Professor Saadatu Hassan, is ably represented by Dr. Hawa Ibrahim, Dr. Hawa Ibrahim, please may we know you and recognize you. Dr. Okay, you're welcome, ma. You're welcome. So we have 2 vice chancellors represented. A little change in plans, a little change in plans. See, when I told you people that the chairman of the ICPC is not just chairman, but he's also a scholar. The paper that will be presented here by the keynote speaker is a loaded paper. If we go for tea and come back, there is a tendency that we are going to start sleeping and will not listen because our tummies will be full. And if we sleep, we miss. Therefore, the chairman and the keynote speaker have agreed. Oh, yes, before I conclude that announcement, I announced earlier that the IGP is represented, and when we asked the officer seated to give us her name to announce, she said to us, "No, I am not the one. Oh. I am only waiting for my Oga to come. Please, wait." Now, the Oga has come. We have representing the Inspector General of Police, AIG Dr. Aisha Abubakar Bajo. Dr. Bajo, you're welcome. So as I was saying, the chairman of the ICPC and the keynote speaker have agreed that the keynote address will be delivered before we go for tea, so that we listen, and while we go for tea, we use the tea and the snacks to push down what we will hear from the keynote address, and so that the panelists will think about it very carefully before they come and hold discussions. And when we come back and we go straight into discussion, you cannot discuss and sleep. It's not possible. But you can listen and sleep. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, permit me to call on our keynote speaker, Hajia Hafsat Abubakar Bakari, who is the Director and CEO of the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit.
Thank you very much for being here. And before I start my speech, please can I apologize for keeping you from your tea. I'm going to run a very short and concise keynote address. And permit me to stand on the existing protocol. And before I go ahead with my speech, please can we give a round of applause for the spectacular speech given by our First Lady. It is indeed a noteworthy address that we should all imbibe. It is a distinct honor and privilege to be here today to deliver this keynote address on a topic that is of critical importance to the development of our nation and the well-being of our citizens. I would like to thank the Executive Chairman of ICPC, my brother, for bringing us together this morning and for his leadership in bringing a new dimension to the war on corruption. It is particularly apt that our discussion today follows on closely from the roundtable hosted by the ICPC yesterday, which focus on the normative and behavioral changes that are necessary if we are to win this war. I'm particularly excited about the theme of the workshop, which is centered on women and youths, two groups that are most critical for long-term systemic change. We're all aware that corruption is a pervasive crisis that has severely undermined our nation's development. According to the Transparency International Corruption Perceptions Index 2023, Nigeria ranks 145 out of 180 countries. This ranking illustrates the entrenched nature of our corruption in our society. Additionally, the UN ODC office estimates that corruption costs Nigeria over 1.5 billion annually, while the National Bureau of Statistics reported that over 721 billion was received as bribe by Nigerian public officials in 2023. These are funds that could significantly enhance our healthcare, education, and other public infrastructure. On this, I would like to stress that women and youths have remained the group most impacted by the negative consequences of corruption, suffering from limited access to resources, opportunities, and services. With over 1,000 deaths per 100 live births, Nigeria has one of the highest maternal mortality rates in the world. This crisis is driven by the misallocation of resources and corrupt practices. As women and youths, we must take charge to address this. The Nigerian youth, comprising over 60% of our population, are not just our leaders of tomorrow. They are, I believe, the architects of today's change, who hold incredible potential and power to drive the fight against corruption. A recent survey revealed that 87% of Nigerian youth view corruption as a significant barrier to their future opportunities. With youth unemployment exceeding over 50%, addressing corruption is crucial to unlocking their potential. I believe it is important to properly consider the particularly pervasive impact of corruption on women and young people in Nigeria, but not just in Nigeria, but globally. It is clear that corruption has disproportionately more impact on these two segments of society due to the inherent dynamics in many countries. In particular, young people and women, and those that are least likely to have access to the levers of political and social authority. They are also less likely to have access to economic power and resources that will cushion the effect and impact of corruption. To illustrate this point and the role that women can play in a society, let me begin by looking back into our history as a nation. Many of you will be familiar with the Aba Women's Riot of 1929, particularly those of us who have graduated beyond the possibility of being referred to as youth. For those that are not familiar with this incident, I will not charge you for this history class. The genesis of the riot was the attempt by colonial masters and authorities to impose an unfair tax on the women traders in the communities of southeastern Nigeria. Historically, governance in that region had been dominated by warrant chiefs imposed by the British authorities. And this imposition of a new tax without consultation or consideration of the fact that women are already playing a major role supporting their husbands and contributing to the taxes paid by their husbands and levies, maybe at that time. The protests that were sparked spread across the whole province and led to the eventual dismantling of the warrant chief system. This first ever widespread protest against imposed authoritarian actions, and I would say corrupt governance systems, demonstrated the power of organized collectives of women to positively alter the societies in which they lived. I cite this example because I believe it speaks to the challenge I identified yesterday regarding the erosion of integrity in the public space and how this leads to corruption and disproportionately harms our young people and women. To put it in clear terms, misappropriation of public funds through procurement fraud, theft of public goods, extortion, and other subtle means such as nepotism and state capture reduces the ability of countries to grow economically. These acts also reduce the amount of investment that goes into public services and infrastructure. For instance, there's less money to pay for schools, to pay for teachers, to build and equip hospitals, and to hire and train nurses and doctors. Even where medical services are available, we have seen many cases where corruption results in supplies of fake and expired drugs and medical products, leading to injuries and death. The link to gender and youth should then be obvious, particularly because young people and women are more likely to be the beneficiaries of these public services. Schools and universities are not available to provide the skills young people need to build productive careers and livelihoods. Hospitals and medicines are not available to look after the health of mothers giving birth. The intersection of youth and gender is also particularly pronounced within the education setting, where older men in a position of authority use their positions to sexually exploit young university students. It is therefore no coincidence that many of the countries that have significant levels of corruption also sit near the bottom of the Human Development Index. They have less productive populations and suffer from worst health outcomes, including malnutrition, maternal and infant mortality. A second aspect I would like to talk about is the role of corruption in facilitating other crimes. Now I'm coming back to my jurisdiction, which is financial crimes and corruption. As an advocate and a gatekeeper on that, I'm sure we all recognize the corrosive effect of corruption on value systems. A clear example of this is the relationship between corruption and fraud, for instance, where societies choose to turn a blind eye or even celebrate those that have benefited from corruption. This increases the incentive for others that may not have access to the same political systems to pursue the lifestyle enabled by access to massive riches at all costs and by all means. I'm going to give you two case studies that the NFIU came within the sphere of the FIU. Two examples in the last few months have illustrated this very clearly for me. Samson and Samuel Ogoshi are brothers, young men who aspired to the lifestyle of the rich and famous. They channeled this aspiration into a massive sextortion scheme, using their cyber skills to pose as young women on social media, targeting over 100 young men, and using some very extensive research, they lured their victims into sending them explicit images. They then threatened to send these images to the friends and families of their victims unless they agreed to pay them off. Jordan DeMay was another young man, a 17-year-old high school student in the United States. He unfortunately fell victim to the Ogoshi brothers, and when the pressure became too much, he took his own life. Fortunately, the brothers did not get away. Through the hard work and synergy and collaboration of our law enforcement agencies and the effectiveness of our courts, they were extradited to the US, where they're paying for the crimes, having been sentenced to almost 20 years each. Another case which illustrates another way in which corruption enables crime. Mr. A, I'm not going to give you the names because it's an ongoing one. Mr. A committed a crime in one of the continents and fled. Thereafter, a continent-wide arrest was issued for the arrest of Mr. A for trafficking young women, including minors, to the continent for the purposes of sexual exploitation. He managed to escape from the continent and return to Nigeria. However, through the work of the NFIU, with the support of sister agencies, we were able to track him and identify all his financial and assets in Nigeria, which are currently frozen. The most worrisome part of this case was that he had already successfully made arrangements to leave Nigeria under an assumed name before his arrest. This action shows that collaboration between sister agencies can counter any act of corruption enabling criminals to strive in Nigeria. And currently, the systems we have put in place to enable security and intelligence agencies working together with anti-corruption agencies to identify and track criminals in Nigeria is very robust and effective. This can be clearly seen in the way the so-called internet cyber criminals and scammers are constantly being tracked and arrested. It is a word of advice to the youth that it is no longer going to be business as usual. As we are adopting preventive measures, we are also going to be proceeding with our enforcement powers, which is very, very critical. Because without enforcement, you cannot have prevention. And I'm sure that my brother, the ICPC chairman, will be able to tell you this more than I can, because he has enforcement powers. Mine is covertly, well, his is overtly. So consequently, I will like to use this opportunity to call on all women and youths to take the front line in this pivotal fight against corruption. Learning from global examples such as Rwanda's commitment to gender equality and anti-corruption can inspire our efforts. Rwanda has made significant strides in reducing corruption, ranking 49th in the Transparency International Index. So you can see the disparity between Rwanda and Nigeria. So we need to work harder on that. And that is why forums such as this, where we are today, is very, very critical and important. By sharing these best practices and supporting one another, we can replicate such successes in Nigeria. Rwanda has one of the highest levels of female representation in government, with women holding over 61% of parliamentary seats. And I think here I'm being biased, that's why I'm bringing the statistics. Women leaders have been instrumental in advocating for anti-corruption measures, which have led to policies that prioritize social welfare, transparency, and fostering a culture of accountability. Another best practice example is the youth-led initiative in Kenya, where young people expose corrupt activities using digital platforms. The partnership between women and youth can create a formidable force against this crime. Together, we must build networks that promote transparency and accountability, leveraging our collective strength to drive change. I therefore urge each one of you to take concrete steps in this fight. Advocate for policies that enhance transparency and accountability in government. Take up leadership roles. Participate in civic education. Hold public officials accountable, and support anti-corruption initiatives. The final case impact of corruption on women and young people that I would like to highlight today is the psychological impact. Corruption drains hope. It fosters disillusion with existing societal structures and political alienation, where marginalized groups such as women and youth do not see viable and legitimate paths to positions of authority. A study in 2017 found a direct correlation between countries with high levels of corruption, large youth populations, and significant levels of violence. This violence emanates from the perception that there is nothing to lose, and therefore the state, its agencies, and interests are legitimate targets. This results in radicalization, and as we have witnessed in many parts of Nigeria, terrorist and separatist groups being perceived by young people as a viable and attractive alternative to active participation in civic spaces. However, ladies and gentlemen, I also believe that women and young people are not just victims of corruption. I believe they are also a major part of the solution. I deliberately brought the issue of the Aba Women's Riot as an example of the positive impact that organized groups of marginalized individuals can have on broken or at best badly bent system. Working together in synergy and bringing all the issues on the table, having concrete solutions will bring systemic change to what we feel is impossible. A 2014 survey produced by the World Economic Forum reported that 90% of respondents, young people from sub-Saharan Africa, identified corruption as a key blocker for the development of their countries. Other surveys have also reported that most young people are opposed to corruption. Research has also identified the positive effect of increased female participation in governance at all levels, particularly in ensuring the effective delivery of social services. Within the organization that I lead, the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, I'm struck daily by the zeal and synergy that many of my most junior team members bring to their jobs. It is clear that when young men and women are engaged and can actively see the benefit of their work to improving the safety, security, and prosperity of their communities, they are less likely to engage in corrupt activities. As leaders, the change for us is how do we nurture this commitment and foster its development? How do we prevent these young minds from becoming cynical and joining the bandwagon of doing things the way they have always been done? Setting clear examples of the highest ethical and moral character is one way to do this. Demonstrating that you can be a leader in the public service and perform your job with integrity and without fear or favor. But we must also go beyond this. One of the most important roles that young women play is in educating and is in influencing their peers. We have seen and have discussed some of the bad examples that are prevalent in our society today. But we must challenge this status quo by identifying, supporting, promoting young men who are making a positive change in our organizations and our communities. We can present this as an alternative to the apparent steez of the Instagram influencers whose income has no source and seemingly no end. And we have seen, particularly from the FIU, the damaging effect of such trends. Finally, we also need to become much better at communicating the laudable strides and results that we are achieving in our war against corruption. The examples I cited of Mr. A and the Ogoshi brothers show that as law enforcement, we have the skills and capability to tackle crimes effectively. It is also instructive that some of the earliest pushbacks against the terrorist group in the Northeast was led by the youth-led civilian joint task forces, some of them who paid the ultimate price with their lives. Examples like this and many more abound across all institutions, but they are being drowned out by the negative stories and media stories which perpetuate the perception there is no hope to an end to corruption. In this work, the work being done by the ICPC under the leadership of my able and amazing brother through its anti-corruption clubs and networks, I believe is a very valuable tool and should be a priority, not just for the Commission, but for all partners that are seeking to change their behaviors and cultures that tolerate or even promote corruption. Ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, I hope the picture I have left with you today is not a pessimistic one, but one that is hopeful for a future where increased participation of women and youth in governance and civic engagement changes our attitude towards corruption and makes us less tolerant of those that benefit from corruption. Additionally, the fight against corruption is not just a responsibility. It is a divine duty we owe to ourselves and our future generations. Together, we can unite in this vital struggle, forge a Nigeria free from the shackles of corruption, and reclaim our nation from the clutches of this social virus. I thank you for your attention, and I wish you peaceful and productive deliberations. Thank you very much.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, Another round of applause for our keynote speaker. I listened to her presentation, and what she presented, I am very sure resonates with every person in this hall. The youths are affected, women are affected, decent people in society are affected by the callous and careless actions of some people. Some young people who want to get rich quick, some people who want to fleece their countries, some people who want to fritter away the resources of their country. I am very sure even the Executive Director, African Council on Narcotics, took something from that paper that has to do with the behavior of young people when it comes to drugs and what they do under the influence of drugs. We are going to have time to reflect on her presentation, digest her presentation, and when we come back, the Leonard Silk, Moyosoro Onibanjo, and his team of discussants will discuss the paper, and thereafter we would have opportunity to interact, ask questions, share experience. I'm sure immigration will have something to share with us. The Nigerian police force would have something to share with us. Our mothers here will have something to share with us, because these Yahoo boys, these drug addicts, these 419ers, all these other people who are engaged in committing this heinous crime against the Nigerian state, the Nigerian people, the Nigerian image, and our commonwealth, they are not spirits. They live with us. We know them. We see them. Sometimes we are afraid to talk. But today, do not be afraid. Speak here today. For if you do not speak, you might be their next victim. May God help us all. We will now go for tea break. The protocol officers, please come and lead. Please come and lead the chairman of the ICPC. As he leads all other dignitaries here present to go for tea. The tea will be for 30 minutes, and we will all return to this hall, please. Thank you very much, and bon appetit. While we are having our tea, let us remember that Nigeria operates within the global setting, and we have the United Nations here with us. We have representatives of the United Nations Office on Drug and Crime, the country director, country rep is ably represented here by Princess Chifero. Yes, princess, we see you. We see you. Welcome. Thank you.